Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति 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 हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय कृष्णाय क्लिष्टकारिणे नमो वेदान्तवेद्याय गुरवे बुद्धिसाक्षिणे कृष्णद्वैपायनं व्यासं सर्वलोकहिते रतं वेदाब्जभास्करं वन्दे शमादिनिलयं मुनिं सहस्रमूर्ते पुरुषोत्तमस्य सहस्रनेत्राननपादबाहोः सहस्रनाम्नां स्तवनं प्रशस्तं निरुच्यते जन्मजरादिशान्त्यै. Namaste once again to all of you who have joined just now. So we are seeing this sloka Brahmanyam Sarvadharmajnam Lokanam Kirtivardhanam Lokanatam Mahadbhutam Sarvabhuta Bhavodbhavam. This sloka we are seeing. And in the last class, we saw the meanings up to the first line, that is Kirti Vardhanam. Up to that, we saw the meanings. Now we will see the second line meanings. Lokanatham. In a general sense, Lokanatham means the leader of the world. Right? Who is the Natha of the entire Loka, leader of the world. But here, Adi Shankara takes three special meanings for this word Lokanatha. Okay. He is Lokanatha, Lord of the world, for which, for Sanskrit students, Lokaihi Natyate iti Lokanatha. The one who is implored, looked upon by people for gaining all the goals, their purusharthas in their life. This is one meaning, right? And this word Lokanatha also means that he is the one who is desired by all beings. That meaning also comes in Lokanatha. So here Lokaihi, in the second one, Lokaihi means Praninam, we have to take the meaning. So Lokaihi, one meaning is the world. Another meaning, Lokaihi means all living beings, Pranina. That meaning we can take. So this is the first meaning he is taking, Adi Shankara, right? That is, he is the one who is looked upon, to whom people pray to grant them or to bestow his grace for fulfillment of all their goals in their life. And then he gives the second meaning. He says, Lokan upatapayate shaste. The one who rules. Upatapayate means it heats up. I'll come to the meaning. What does he mean by saying upatapayate, right? So the one who rules, one who lights up and who blesses the world. He is Lokanatha. And he rules this world with a strict discipline. he subjects everyone to pain and torment. Why? To purify them. Just as the impure gold is purified by what process? Subjecting that gold to very high temperature, high heat, severe heating process. Similarly, that's what is the meaning of upatapayate he used. Similarly, this Lord, this Lokanatha, subject the people in the world to lot of pain and torment in order to purify them. So this is how we have to understand the meaning of the word upatapayate. And then he adds one more word, shaste. So shaste means to rule or to govern, right? So he governs the world with strict rules and discipline. So here, lokan is, we have to take as the dvitiya bahuvacha for Sanskrit students, I would say, means the world. Then he says the third meaning, lokan ishte. He is the master of the world and he takes care of everyone. And when that is so, Pujya Swamiji says, when that ishte meaning comes, it means that he is indicating, Adi Shankara is here, there is nobody who is anatha in the world. Everyone has got the Ishvara as their nata. So there is no orphan in the world at all. In fact, he says the people say that we take care of the orphans when they themselves are dependent on so many others for their daily needs. Right? So whether one has one parents or not, one is an anatha if one does not acknowledge the Lord as the Natha. That is what is the meaning Lokanatha. Pujya Swamiji gives the further explanation, right? So he is a Natha who takes care of everyone. So no one is an orphan. We should not think that there is nobody for us in the world as long as we acknowledge the existence of Parameshwara in our life. Then he says, the Lord is Mahad Bhutam. Mahad here refers to Brahman. The one who is always existent as Brahman, who is the truth of everything in this world, who is superior, Mahad, superior, eminent to everything else in this entire cosmos, and is represented by these five elements, Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, and Prithvi. These five gross elements are all born out of this Ishvara only. So he is the cause of existence of all these Panchabhutas. And therefore, being the cause, he is superior to all. Because the entire world is made of Panchabhutas. These five elements. And he is the cause. So being the cause, he is superior, more exalted, more eminent than all these Panchabhutas, which is the entire world. And he is the nature of pure existence. So here, the aspect of Sachidananda Swarupa he is bringing, he is highlighting, Adi Shankara is highlighting. And then he goes on to say, he is, that Lord is Paramartha Satyam. Paramartha Satyam means what? Supreme reality, the absolute reality. We have seen in one of the earlier classes about three, but I think we discussed it in the question and answer session, if I'm not wrong. I don't remember whether it was this class or Tattva class also. It doesn't matter. We will just touch upon it. Those who have not heard that explanation. What is this Paramartha Satyam? See, in Vedanta Shastra, Satyam, which is the reality or the truth, is defined in three ways. Paramartha Satyam, Vyavaharika Satyam, and Pratibhasika Satyam. These are the three types of realities which Vedanta Shastra describes. And in these three, the Paramartha Satyam, which is called absolute reality, alone is the permanent reality, permanent Satyam. The other two, Vyavaharika Satyam and Pratibhasika Satyam, are temporary reality. They appear to be Satyam, they appear to be real, but they are actually not real. They are what Shastra calls them Mithya. Means what? They don't have an independent existence. So from a Shastric point of view, that which has got an independent existence only is Satyam. That is one of the aspects of the definition of Satya. There's one more aspect. We'll come to it in a minute. So this Vyavaharika means what? The empirical reality which we experience and which we take this entire world to be. That is Vyavaharika Satya. So that Vyavaharika Satyam is a mithya. It is an appearance, but it does not have independent existence. Its existence is borrowed from the Paramarthika Satyam, from Brahman. The pure existent aspect of Brahman lends that existence to this world, and so this world appears to be real. Pure existence is there only for Brahman, right? Absolute reality. So this is what he refers to here as Paramartha Satya. And as I said, Vyavaharika Satyam is the empirical reality. That which is not real, in fact, but appears to be real. And it refers to the entire world and all the transactions that happen in the world. They all appear real, including our body-mind complex. This body which we are thinking is real, it is existing. Shastra says it doesn't exist on its own. It has a dependent existence. So you can call it real, but with a disclaimer. The disclaimer is not independently existent. You take it as existent. Appearance, right? And the word Satyam, we need to understand how it is defined in Shastra. The word Satyam is defined as Trikale api tishtati yat tat Satyam. Means what? Trikale api means all three periods of time. Past, present and future. That which is existence in all three periods of time is what Shastra considers as Satyam. So what we have to do, if we have to take anything as real, we have to question, was this existent before, which is now is existing, and will it exist in future? All times. Not future means not tomorrow or day after or next year. Entire future it should exist, entire past it should have existence, and currently it is existing. And if we analyze with this particular lens of definition of Shastra, anything in this world, we will come to the conclusion that there is nothing which has got this kind of a existence in all three periods of time. Everything in this world, including our body, mind, sense complex, has a non-existence at time, then it becomes existence, and it will become non-existent. Even if you take our body as an example, this body does not remain the same from minute to minute. Every minute, hundreds or thousands of cells are getting destroyed. And hundreds of new cells are being formed in this body. What this body was yesterday is not the same body today, even though we don't see that happening. So we think that there is no change from yesterday and today. But in fact, So much changes taking place constantly in this body. What constitutes this body was not what constitutes this body today was not there yesterday, and what is there today will not be there tomorrow. So even this body mind complex which we are saying is we take it as real. Shastra says you take it as real, fine, that is because you are actually superimposing reality on something which doesn't exist. And that superimposition is coming from Brahman, which is of a pure existence. It is like the water flowing in a river. At any given point in time, the water will appear to be the same. But what is happening? The water is never the same. That water which you are seeing right now has already gone. Isn't it? And new water is coming. That's going away. So it's a pravaha nityat. Appears to be real because of the continuity, but it is actually not real. Right? So this is what, and that is the another word Shastra uses for such a phenomenon is called mithya. So satyam and mithya. Mithya means that which appears to be existing because it is borrowing the existence from Brahman. It doesn't have its own existence. That is mithya. But this is the vyavaharika satyam. And the third type of satyam Shastra talks about is pratibhasika satyam, which is called subjective reality. The reality at the individual level. Because even though it is taken as a reality, the vyavaharika satyam is taken as reality by everybody. When I take my body's mind sense complex as real, when you are also taking my body sense complex as real only. Body, mind, sense complex, isn't it? So it is common reality. Everybody takes it as real. Whereas pratibhasika satyam is a subjective reality. It is a reality only for me or for the individual who considers it to be real. And what is the best example for that? Dream world. When we are dreaming, that is not gone into deep sleep, but we have gone into the second stage. From waking stage, we have gone into a dream stage. There we see so many dreams. At that time, all those dreams appear to be real to us. Isn't it? We have all experienced, and in fact, people cry in their dreams, taking it real. If they are hurt in the dream, they will cry. Actually, outwardly they will cry. They will talk. When they are dreaming, whatever they are conversing in the dream, they will talk. So the dream world is taken as a reality during the dream time. That it is not a reality is realized only when we wake up, isn't it? When we wake up, we understand, oh, all that was only a dream, means not real. Mithya appeared to be real, but it was not real. That I did not realize as long as I was actually experiencing the dream, but now that I have woken up, I have realized that that dream was a mithya. And another aspect of the dream, it is subjective because I can see my dream, the reality, I can only appreciate the reality of my dream. You cannot see my dream. That is why it is subjective, limited to the individual only. For you, my dream does not exist. If you understand this subtle, explanation of what reality means, you will also understand that when we are talking about Vyavaharika Satyam and Paramarthika Satyam, when we get that real knowledge of the self, the knowledge of Brahman, when we get the knowledge of what is the real actual meaning of Aham Brahmasmi Mahavakyam, and we abide in that knowledge, we become a super waker. We become a jnani. So from the dream world, when we woke up, we realized that the dream world was not a fact. It existed, it did not exist actually in reality. Similarly, when we gain this knowledge of the self or Brahman, Brahma Jnanam, Atma Jnanam, that time we will understand that this Vyavaharika world, which we have been taking it as reality all along throughout our life, actually did not have any reality of its own. It was all an appearance, and I was mistaken. It was my misconception. I took them as real. If you understand this, you have understood the basics of Vedanta very well. In fact, this is what Vedanta is all about. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. This is what is Vedanta is. This is the understanding Vedanta tries to give, Upanishads try to give through all the various Upanishads. Even Bhagavad Gita talks about this reality. So this is Paramartha Satyam, the supreme reality. And that reality actually fits into the definition of Trikale Api Tishtati. It was there, it is there now, and it will ever be there eternity. What is that? Brahman. And that is why whom we call Paramatma. That Paramatma is the absolute reality. Changeless, eternal Paramatma. That is how we have to understand this word. Paramarthika Satyam, right? We are saying Mahadbhuta, right? Mahadbhuta, we are saying, which is a Paramartha Satyam. So the next word Adi Shankara takes up for explanation is Sarva Bhuta Bhavod Bhavam. The last word in this shloka. Sarva Bhuta means all beings, right? Sarva, all. Bhavaha means samsara hai. We have seen this meaning of bhavaha in the initial classes. Samsara hai, right? A life of becoming, as Pujya Swamiji says. Repeated identification with this body, mind, sense complex, because of which we have this obsession with wealth, with fame, with raga, dvesha. All these obsessions is what is called bhava, samsara. Collectively, they are called samsara, right? Samyak sarati iti samsara. Keep on rushing from one to another, running hither and thither, toiling for a living. And all these have come from whom? From whom all these jivas, their bodies, their sense organs, their likes, their dislikes, their happiness, their sorrow, all these things, and including their respective karmas, they are all manifested. From whom? From that Paramatma. All jivas are born according to their karmas. Right? This we have seen. Because the Lord Paramatma is the one who actually dispenses the result of our own karmas, the fruits of our action. And all of them live in this world with their own body, mind, sense, complex, everything. In a world which is conducive for them to experience their karma phala, exhaust their karmas rather, right? And each being has its own fears, its own problems. It goes through various experiences. So the Lord is Udbhava. Udbhava means the cause. Cause of what? Of bhava, this samsara hai. And samsara, we saw one more meaning, the cycle of births and deaths, right? That is also another meaning of samsara. So all these things, the Lord is the one who is the cause for all this that is happening, because he is the karma phala data. And this entire world is running based on the karmas of all the jivas only. That is why the world is born. The creation happens only to exhaust the karmas of the jivas who existed before the dissolution, previous creation. Even though in the when the whole universe at the end of that period, what we call pralayam comes, the whole universe gets converted from a manifest universe to an unmanifest universe. It goes into a seed form. In that seed, this entire universe is contained. Like in a small seed, the whole tree is there. A big, huge mango tree, or whatever tree you can say, Ashwatha Vriksha, is there in a small seed. We can't see it. We can't differentiate it. That's all. But what is there in the seed only sprouts and grows into a huge tree. Similarly, this entire cosmos, when it goes to the seed form, all the karmas, everything which is there in this entire cosmos goes into a seed form. And the next creation is what? Sprouting of that seed, and everything comes back again. And so, your karma, my karma are not going to be lost just by our death. That is the end of the physical body. Even at the end of the pralayam, that is at the time of pralayam, our subtle body gets destroyed, but our karana causal body continues even after the pralayam into the next creation, cycle of creation, which is called karana shariram. That karana shariram is where all these punya papas that we earn are stored. And they manifest again when the creation takes place. So, the Lord, who is having this entire account of everybody's karma, he is the one who gives out all this for each creation, the beginning of creation, and also for each life that each jiva, takes in the new creation. All the karma phala is distributed by the Lord. That is why he is called the Udbhava, the cause of this entire samsara, this world. Right? Sarva Bhuta Bhava Udbhavam. He is the Lord. Absolute reality, Ishvara, Paramatma, Parameshwara, any name we can give, Brahman, all names we can give. And such a Lord, we have to connect now. Nityam Stuvan Sarva Dukkhadigo Bhavet. If we sing, praise his glories continuously, constantly praying to him, one crosses all difficulties, crosses the ocean of sorrow, to put it simply. This is the meaning of this sloka. So this sloka is over. Now Adi Shankara says, Panchamam Prashnam Pariharati means what? The fifth question is now answered. Every sloka beginning, he says, which is the question is being answered, right? What was the fifth question, if we recall? Yudhishthira asked Bhishmacharya, Bhavataha Mataha, in your view, Sarva Dharmanam, amongst all dharmas, Kaha Paramaha Dharmaha, which is the most exalted dharma? This was the question he asked. Isn't it? Ko dharma sarva dharmanam bhavata paramo matah. This was the sloka, but I told it in prose form. So Yudhishthira wanted to know what was the greatest dharma according to Bhishma was. I think it was a sloka 9 or something, I don't remember, maybe 8, 9. Right? So Bhishma gives him the answer in this verse, which we are now going to read. येष मे सर्वधर्माणां धर्मोऽधिकतमो मतः यद्भक्त्या पुण्डरीकाक्षं स्तवैरच्चेन्नरः सदा. So for Sanskrit students, I thought that I will just make a little bit of contribution. See, whenever we read a sloka, it is in a verse form. And the words are arranged in a verse form, which is not very easy for us to understand. The verb will not come in the end and somewhere and all that. So whenever we are interpreting or understanding the meaning of any sloka, the first exercise that we have to do is convert the sloka into prose form. Understand each word of the sloka and convert it into prose form. Once you convert into prose form, then if you have knowledge of Sanskrit, which is what I am teaching my Sanskrit students today, Kupuswamiji is there. So if you know that, then you will be able to make out the entire meaning of the sloka. So I thought that I will use this opportunity to give a little bit of an example to Sanskrit students. Okay, others please bear with me. So here the prose form, which is called anvaya in Sanskrit, this converting this verse into a prose form is called anvaya. So this shloka is converted as prose form as follows: Yat naraha bhaktya pundari kaksham sada stavaihi archet sarva dharmanam yesha dharmaha adhikatamaha within bracket iti me mataha. This is how we have to convert this into. Once you convert it, then the meaning becomes very easy and simple to understand. So this is just a clue. I mean, later on when you read other verses on your own, but Bhagavad Gita, anything that you read, of course, to understand you must have a little bit knowledge of Sanskrit. Only just little bit, fair knowledge of Sanskrit. Once you have that, then this is the first exercise you have to do when converting, trying to understand a verse, convert it into a prose form. Okay. So now we take the prose form and then we will start from the second line. Yesha dharma hai, he says. This dharma. Which dharma? Yat naraha. Which the human beings. Shankaracharya says manushya, the human beings we can take. Bhaktya. Simple with devotion. Adi Shankara expands it tatparyena. Because he has actually interpreted this word bhaktya earlier also in one of the slokas. There also he brought in this meaning of tatparata. So here also he is emphasizing bhaktya means tatparya.
Mama,
sorry?
Can you repeat Eshameva? Eshameva meaning? Eshameva. Eshamed sarva. Esha.
Yesha means this.
Okay.
Yesha dharma, right? This dharma, which dharma? Then he is going to explain which dharma he is going to talk about, right? Which bhaktya tatparyena. I think that was tameva charchayan nityam yat bhaktya purusha. There bhaktya word he said, and for bhaktya he interpreted as tatparyena, right? Sarveshu kaleshu bhaktir bhajanam tatparyam taya bhaktya. This is the word which he used there in that bhashyam. Of course, we have stopped now reading the bhashyam, so but this is what was quoted there, right? So he is bringing the same meaning here. Tatparyam means what? Tatparata. Tatparata means that alone is the goal in life. One's goal in life. Ishvara is the only goal in life. And it can be stated another way also. Happiness is the only, or joy is the only goal in life. Can we deny that? Everybody's goal in life, whether stated or unstated goal, is to be always happy. That is what our goal is. Nobody can deny, nobody can say, no, I want to be happy for 1 hour, then I want to be unhappy for 1 hour. Nobody will say this if he's a sane person. So in my life, happiness, joy is the only goal of my life. And it is not the happiness that we get through wealth or the joy that we get through relationship with others and all that. Those happinesses we know are temporary happiness. They come and go, and the happiness is mixed with misery, joy, sorrow also. Joy and sorrow mixed. Mishra happiness, what we call Mishra happiness. To gain the knowledge of the self, assimilate that knowledge and abide in that knowledge is my tatparya, my goal in life. To understand happiness as my very nature and not just a temporary experience, and ever abiding in that Swarupa Ananda, happiness as my nature, is my Parama Purushartha, is my only goal, the most exalted goal in my life. That is the meaning of Tatparya. And that is why he says Bhaktya means devotion simply. What does that devotion mean? That you, Lord, who is Ananda Swarupa, is my goal in life. That is what is devotion. You, Lord, is not one period in my timetable of daily living. If I divide my 24 hours into like a timetable, I allocate 1 hour for Lord. I will do puja, bhaktya. That is not tatparya. That is how, like you eat, you drink, you sleep, and you take bath, you do puja also. Tatparyam is taking that Ishvara as the only goal in life, and that is what he says. Yesha dharma sarva dharmanam adhikatamaha, the most exalted dharma. Iti me mataha, this is my considered view. That's what Bhishmaji says. So this bhaktya word, very important in this, which Adi Shankara interprets as the only goal in life, only tatparyam in my life. Which is what? Which is bringing Ishvara or keeping Ishvara as the only exalted goal in my life. Right? And who is that Ishvara? He says Pundarikaksham. Shankaracharya explained this as Hridaya Pundarike Prakashamanam. Beautiful explanation. Because the moment you say Pundarikaksham, lot of questions will come up. Pundarikaksham literally means the one whose eyes are like a lotus flower. Pundarika Aksham. Pundarikaksham. Pundarikam means lotus flower, right? Whose eyes. And normally that's what we tell Mahavishnu also. Eyes like lotus flower. Kamala Nayanam. Kamala Nayanam Meghavarnam Shubhangam. In the Dhyana slokas we say. Okay. But here, Adi Shankara gives a different shade of meaning for this word Pundarikaksha. He says, Hridaya Pundarike Prakashamanam Vasudevam, he says. Hridaya Pundarike means, Hridaya means what? Heart. Pundarike means what? In the lotus shape. So in the lotus shaped heart, which is the meaning of Hridaya Pundarike, Prakashamanam, the one who is shining. Prakashamanam, Vasudevam. That Vasudeva. That person's name is Vasudeva. Whoever that entity, I wouldn't even call it a person, that entity's name is Vasudeva. The one which is effulgent, shining in one's lotus-shaped heart. Because in the Shastras, the heart is compared to a lotus bud. Even otherwise also we see, this is the shape of the heart and all that, and if you see it is like a lotus bud. This Shastras compare the heart to the lotus bud. And Shastras also say that there is a space in this heart what's called Hridakasha, Hridaya Akasha. And the Lord, Paramatma, resides in that space. This is what Shastra says. Right? And we must remember the heart which Shastra refer to is not the anatomical heart. We must not confuse. Right? It is not that. So, Shankaracharya elsewhere, here he has not done. The word heart, he has interpreted Hridehe as Buddhehe. Buddhehe means intellect. And the moment we say intellect, our orientation is to show the head. We all think that intellect, brain is the seat of our intellect, which is a totally wrong thinking. Another bit we all have been following, that the brain, physical brain is the seat of our intellect. It is not. Physical, our brain is only a processor. Intellect is not there. Intellect is actually in the heart. This is what our Shastra says. Your buddhi is in your heart. And there is connections between the space in that heart and then the brain and all that. And that is why we confuse that the thinking is done by the brain, decisions are taken by the brain. It is never taken by the brain. Brain only processes all the information, feeds that to the heart to take the decision. Heart in the sense here, buddhi, intellect, to take the decision. The buddhi is defined in Shastra as nischayatmika buddhi. Buddhi, difference between mind and intellect is, mind is always wavering. Mind cannot take any decision. It is emotionally driven. Mind is like a pendulum. To be, not to be. To be, not to be. This is the condition of the mind. Whereas intellect is nischayatmika. Intellect is the one which drives all our decisions in our life. This is the difference between manas and buddhi, which is explained in the Shastra. So when you say Hridaya Kashe, here Adi Shankara is referring to the intellect, not the physical anatomical heart, that we must understand. So one of the functions of that heart is intellect. That is where it happens. And in that intellect, this Paramatma is there. We can prakashamanam, shining, effulgent in that intellect, in that buddhi. So, when we say that, immediately we have a problem. Isn't it? What is the problem? All along we have been saying that this Paramatma is Sarva Vyapi. He is there everywhere. And suddenly he says that Paramatma is there in the buddhi, which is true. Whether he is in the buddhi or he is everywhere, you please tell me. A student will ask a guru. You are confusing us. All along you are saying Vishnu, who means Sarva Vyapi, all pervading, everywhere. In Tamil, if I say those who understand Tamil, Tunilum Irupar, Turumbilum Irupar, all that you have been saying. Now suddenly you say that Paramatma is in your heart, in a small space within the heart. In fact, Shastra says Angushta Matram. That space is just like your just size of a thumb. Upanishad say Angushta Matram. So what are you trying to say? So the Guru says, see, this is the problem with this Paramatma. He is there in the heart also, he is everywhere also. But for us, if he is in the heart, we think he is not everywhere. And if he is everywhere, he can't be in the heart. Or at least we can say, okay, he is also in the heart. That is why he uses the word Prakashaman. He is available everywhere. That Paramatma is the cause. So he actually inheres every effect. No effect in this world can be bereft of Paramatma. But he is available for our recognition in the heart. That's why he says Prakashamanam, shining. But when it shines, we recognize, okay, this is what is the Paramatma. Otherwise, if we say that Paramatma is everywhere, in the tree also Paramatma is there, in the laptop also Paramatma is there. If we see a tree or a laptop, can we identify Paramatma? We cannot. Because these things do not have the medium to reflect the effulgence of Paramatma. Only our intellect, our buddhi has got the material, the medium to reflect the effulgence of Paramatma. That is why in the Shastra they say it is available in the buddhi for recognition. And that recognition aspect is what Adi Shankara brings it here as Prakashamanam, available for recognition because it is shining. Shining means what? The knowledge. Shining we should not again take as like some light bulb shining and all. Light has always been taken in our Shastra as knowledge. That's why we use words like enlightenment and all. What is the enlightenment? A person getting knowledge is enlightenment. Can you please enlighten me on this? Don't we ask this question? Can you make me aware? Can you increase my knowledge? Can you give me knowledge about a particular thing? So the word light in Shastra is always referring to knowledge and not to the physical light. It comes from tube light or some table lamp. Even though there is a implied meaning there. Just like the light, physical light removes darkness. Similarly, this knowledge light, light of knowledge removes the darkness of ignorance. So that way we can understand that light removes, physical light removes physical darkness. The light of knowledge removes our ignorance, which is the biggest obstacle for our realizing our the true nature of ourself. Ignorance, lack of knowledge is the real cause. And through this Vedanta, which is Jnana Kanda, Upanishads, we gain that knowledge and remove this ignorance. That is the whole scheme of this Vedanta. Moksha package is that only. Once you get that knowledge, you are liberated. Moksha. So this is the moksha package. This is what the spiritual journey is all about. Yeah. So we have to understand what he means that Prakashamanam, self-effulgent. It does not need another light to light up that. It is self-effulgent, like gold shines on its own. Like that, this Paramatma, self-effulgent, available for recognition in the Buddha, in the intellect. Right? Consciousness principle. What is that self-effulgent? It is consciousness principle. And in fact, this is the same idea Bhagavan Krishna says in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Ishvara sarva bhutana hriddeshe arjuna tishtati. Hriddeshe Ishvara tishtati sarva bhutana. Of all living beings, hriddeshe means in the space within the heart. Tishtati Ishvara is available for recognition. This is there in the so as I told, the small space, Angushta Matra space is the locus of the intellect where Ishvara shines and is available for recognition, available for knowing that Ishvara. So when initially I told that our scriptures do not believe in having faith in Ishvara, they don't profess that you must have faith in Ishvara. Ishvara is something to be known, to be discovered, to be understood. How will you understand Ishvara? By understanding this Paramatma who is self-effulgent in our Hridayakasha, within our own self. The true nature of that Paramatma, when we understand, we will discover what real nature of this Paramatma is. Right? And in fact, the word Pundarikam occurs in Mahanarayana Upanishad, right? and which means, as I told you, a lotus shape, referring to the heart. So there it says that Paramatma is sinless, sorrowless, and all that in Mahanarayana Upanishad. And that Ishvara, that Paramatma, Adi Shankara adds one more word, name, Vasudeva. So that Vasudeva, when we say, we must not actually visualize the Krishna, Vasudeva, Vasudeva Sutam Deva. Not that Vasudeva. Vasudeva is what even Vishnu Sahasranamam says. Vasanat Vasudevasya Vasitam Bhuvanatrayam Sarva Bhuta Nivasosi Vasudevo Namostute. Vishnu Sahasranamam itself is defining who is this Vasudeva. And which is the meaning. Adi Shankara very beautifully picks up from Vishnu Sahasranamam and says, this Paramatma, this Hridaya Pundarike, Prakashamanam, who is he? He is Vasudevam. Who is this Vasudevam? Read this sloka. That's all. Sarva Bhuta Nivasosi. Oh Vasudeva, you are the indweller of all living beings. Tvam Vasudeva Nivasaha Asi. Tvam Asi. Vasudeva. So that Vasudeva, he is called Vasudeva. That Vasudeva is the one who is Paramatma, who is the one who is to be Bhaktya, Pundarikaksham, Stavaihi, Archet, Naraha Sadha. This is how we have to understand this sloka. And the same idea in so many places we find. This word Vasudeva, even Bhagavad Gita, it is used. Bahunam janmana mante jnanavan mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma durlabha sudurlabha, it says. That everything in this world, in this universe, in this cosmos is Vasudeva only. Understanding of this by a Mahatma, such Mahatmas are very, very rare. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that everything is Vasudeva only. This understanding comes to only very rarely to people. Because we are not even focusing on that Vasudeva. Right? Another place in the 10th chapter it says, Aham Atma Gudhakesha Sarva Bhutashayastitah Ahamadischa Madhyamcha Bhutana Mantamevacha. So that Vasudeva is the beginning, middle, and end of all the living beings. So that is there. He is again, so he is going, there are so many slokas and pramanams we can get in the Shastra. If you get into that, the whole so many classes we'll do only talk about Vasudeva. So we'll cut short here. The Pundarikaksham, the one who sides in the lotus of our heart or lotus shaped heart, that is the Buddhi as Vasudeva, the Atma. That is the meaning. Sarva Dharmana means among all dharmas. We have already seen the meaning of dharma and all that. I don't want to go into that. All dharmas. We saw that, what is that, Chodana, Lakshana and all that we saw. We will not go. You may refer to your notes. But here, we must be careful to understand when he says Sarva Dharmanam, here the reference of what is this Archana and all that, or this Stotram, is to Vishesha Dharma, not the Samanya Dharma. Samanya Dharma is not referred. Here it is Vishesha Dharma. For all human beings to follow. What is the particular Dharma? That is what Yudhishthira asked. So, Sarva Dharmanam, among all dharmas, Yesha Dharma, this Dharma, Adhikatamaha, means the most exalted. What is that? Yat Naraha Sada Arche, whereby man always continuously worships the Lord. Naraha is human being, Manushya we have seen, without any discrimination to race, creed, caste, sex and all that. Everybody. No age restriction, No caste restriction, nothing. Not only Brahmanas can do it, or nothing. Everybody. Bhaktya is important. That's why we have got the Nandanar Charitram and all in Tamil literature. All these stories, they give us so much of, knowledge. Immediately when you say, you can connect to this story and all. So Nandanar Charitram is one very beautiful story where he was a agricultural labor, a person belonged to low caste. He attained the Paramatma. Why? Bhaktya. Because he took that as his tatparata in life, went behind it, and finally achieved that. So we must understand, all these stories have got a value, and those values, we will have to dig out their value and through all these kind of, classes and, these meanings. Sada, we have seen the meaning. Sada means always. Other than the time we need to keep aside for our daily chores and all that, all other time, unavoidable things, right? Rest of the time. Archet, Shankaracharya says, Archanam Karoti, thus puja, worships, this with stotras and that. And he also adds Satkara Purvakam. Satkara Purvakam means with a reverential attitude, complete devotion. And by what means? Stavaihi. Stavaihi means we have seen Guna Sankirtanam Lakshanaihi. Earlier we have seen Stavaihi. Singing the glories of Parameshwara by meaningful words of praise. That is the meaning of Stavaihi. So worshipping the Lord, bringing the Lord more and more into one's life is the greatest dharma, the most exalted dharma. And this is the best means for achieving the ultimate end in life, the moksha goal, parama ayana. So through worship, devotion, you bring Ishvara into a life. More Ishvara in one's life means there is more reality, more objectivity in one's life. Because Ishvara is the reality. In fact, Ishvara is the only reality. The more you associate and bring that reality into your life, the more real you become, more objective you become. So this is the interpretation of this sloka from the Dvaitam angle, because here again we are talking about Ishvara and then I am doing Archana to Ishvara. We can understand this sloka from Advaita angle also, right? That is beauty. Shankaracharya mixes both because he has to bring in Advaitam, whereas on the face of it, this looks like Dvaitam rather. You are different, I am different, I am singing your glory, singing Archana to you, or doing Archana to you means what? Dvaitam is there, the two entities we are talking about. So, but we can understand it from Advaitam point of view, which is what we have been discussing, that before one reaches the stage of recognizing and knowing that Vasudeva, the pure consciousness, which is available for recognition in our buddhi, in our intellect, we have to first go through this karma yoga. This archana and all is what? Vishnu Sahasranamam Parayanam is meant for what? Part of karma yoga, where Dvaitam still exists, but doing this archana with devotion, bhaktya, what will you gain? Chitta Shuddhi you will gain. So within Dvaitam, as I told you earlier also, the path to Advaitam is through Dvaitam only. Because Dvaitam is the reality we recognize because of our ignorance. Advaitam is the reality we will recognize when we get the real knowledge of the actual reality, absolute reality. But to reach there, we have to go through this process of Dvaitam. So you can visualize that Vasudeva in the form of Mahavishnu and do Vishnu Sahasranama Archana, do Vishnu Sahasranama Parayana. All this you can do that. Okay. And that Vasudeva, that Prakashamanam Vasudeva, is what Shastras call as Atma. You must understand. We say Atma, Atma, Atma. What is that Atma? That Atma is that Vasudeva, whom we have just now seen elaborate description of who that Vasudeva is. So Aham Vasudeva, this is the final. You can say Aham Brahmasmi or Aham Vasudeva, both are same because Brahman is what is Vasudeva referred to here. So this is the final goal which we have to reach. And that's why whenever we do puja and all that, we also do Atma Puja. Those who know how to do puja properly, in the proper way. We say Atmane Namaha, Antaratmane Namaha, Jivatmane Namaha, Jnanatmane Namaha. All that we say Atma Puja, right? Paramatmane Namaha also we say, right? And only after this Atma Puja, visualizing that Paramatma in our own self, within this body mind complex, we do the puja to the other Paramatma. How foolish we are, isn't it? Already Paramatma is inside. And we are thinking Paramatma is outside and we do puja to an idol or a photo or something like that. But that is how it is. Because all these are meant for, this visualization is meant for dhyana. As Paramatma, we are actually recognizing that Paramatma inside us and outside us also. So through that action itself, we are recognizing the all-pervasiveness of the Paramatma. So that is another way you can understand this. And Stavaihi, we have seen. And the time now. So Sankirtanam and all, we have seen the meaning. So we'll continue in the next class. Okay, I'll stop here. Then if there is any questions, we can take. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you all once again.
Raghuji, I have a couple of questions. Raghuji, couple of questions.
Please shoot.
Thank you, Mama. Namaskaram.
Hari Om Guruji.
Yes.
When you say, so is it okay, right?
One by one.
Okay, I'm just saying, as I was saying, everybody is talking. So is it right to say that Dvaitam is a Vyavaharika reality, right? When you say Dvaitam is that is, and when I was listening to you in detail about the Vasudeva explanation. Do I understand correctly that Vasu or Vasu means shining? So the one who shines in the heart, is that what the meaning is? Is that what is the one who shines?
From a Sanskrit perspective, because the word Deva itself means shining.
Oh, is it right? See, I got confused with Vasu is shine. Oh, okay.
So, I think Dhyudhatu, Deva, means shining. Deva itself means shining.
Okay. See, I thought it was from the word Vasu. I broke it and said, okay, good. Thank you, Raghuji. Thanks for the clarification. I appreciate it. Okay, namaskar.
Any other question?
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste. So no more question. Can I close the class?
Namaskar.
No, Guruji. I do have a question.
No, that's okay.
Thank you, Guruji.
No problem.
Thank
if you have
you.
a question, ask. That's
Okay. The question is, when we talk of Ishvara, who does the Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, Tirodhana, and Anugraha, where does the Karma Phaladata role fall into it?
okay. See, the karma, what we have to understand when we say Ishvara, again we have to understand what we mean by Ishvara. There is one entity which is Brahman. one entity which is Maya. Maya, Brahman put together is what we call Ishvara. Because Ishvara as Brahman cannot do anything on his own. He is Akarta Abhokta. He can't do anything. So Ishvara, when he is actually doing anything, has to take the help of Maya Shakti, the power of Maya to do everything. So when we say Ishvara is Karma Phala Datha, what we are referring to is the Ishvara taking the help of Maya is the Karma Phala Datha. The pure Ishvara, the Brahman part of it, he is not even a Karanam for this. So that's why we don't say Brahman is Karanam. We say that Ishvara is Karanam. Because the creation cannot come from Brahman. But these are all very subtle points which, you know, when we go detail into Vedanta, Upanishads and all, we will appreciate. For Vishnu Sahasranamam class, I thought it will be too much. Already people are running away, attendance is falling. So I don't want to drive them away further by going into very subtleties of Vedanta. But then, since Adi Shankara has used Advaita Vedanta philosophy for explaining this, some degree of Vedanta cannot be avoided. But wherever relevant, I will explain. So whenever we talk of Karma Phala Datha, that it is not that he actually, out of his own whims and fancies, Ishvara gives the Karma Phalas. It is our own karmas. See, Ishvara is sitting like a Supreme Court judge. Right? The actions of the parties, whoever are there before that, are in front of him. What all actions are there? Then there is a very detailed order of Ishvara, the law of karma. Which action will attract what result is also there before the Ishvara. How does the Supreme Court, Chief Justice of Supreme Court take any decision? Does he give a judgment? Because I feel it should be like this. He can't do that. He has to see what is the law, what are the facts, both put together. He has to, then he will give the judgment. He can't go beyond neither the facts nor the law, right? So here the law itself is Ishvara's order. The entire cosmic order is the law. And that cosmic order is already determined. If you have done this, if you have done Brahmahatya dosha, this is the punishment for you. If you have done this Stavaira Chendara Asara, if you go on doing this Vishnu Sahasranamam Parayanam, this will be the result for you, good result for you. All this is all decided in the order, like the laws of the land. And Ishvara looks at the facts, your record. What is that you are bringing? And then he will say, okay, for this punya, give him this. This punya is maturing. So in the next birth, he will let him enjoy all these things. Let him or her enjoy all these things. Or he has done this papa, which is maturing. He has to be given this bad experience or sorrowful experience. He has to now give. That is what this Karma Phala Datha is all about. Karma Phala Datha does not mean he is going to pick out something from his pocket and okay, you have pleased me so much, I will give you this extra. He can't do it. He doesn't have any powers. Supreme Court judge cannot apply here some other country's law and then give judgment, isn't it? Our constitution, our law only. What we have done, we will have to bear the consequence. But then we require a judge because the law itself cannot give the judgment and karmas themselves cannot give the judgment. So you require somebody to dispense justice. That is what is Karma Phala Datha is all about. You should understand.
Raghuji, you explain a little bit of Tattva Bodha in every Vishnu Sahasranamam class.
That I can't help it because Tattva Bodha is full Vedanta. Vishnu Sahasranamam also is Vedanta.
That's what happened.
It will happen. But then I try to avoid it so that, what happens is, I say certain things in Tattva Bodha class and if I repeat it here, those students will get bored. They will say, he's saying the same thing everywhere. So I try to keep that minimum, but it can't be avoided.
No, Raghuji, no. No, I want to reiterate. No, we cannot, because we need the reiteration, because memory is searching. So I'm glad you're doing it. It's not a repetition.
Fair enough. But I am actually also considering people who have no exposure to Vedanta at all.
Okay.
For
Because when you
them,
see
if I talk starting, I know, like Tattva Bodha, Vedanta, Shariratrayam, Panchakosham and all, they will all be totally lost.
some Veda, some Tattva Bodha, you have to bring it in.
Balancing act.
Yes. So, yeah, you have to bring in some. See, when we talk to, when I started listening to Swami Dayananda Saraswati, I used to wonder, why is he repeating? You know, if you see that repetition, the repetition is for our clarity.
Most important, you to 1,000 times, 10,000 times you have to hear it, then only it will go.
Yes, that's what I said, for our clarity, getting into the Buddha. Yes, yes.
That is true. But then you must have that inclination to listen, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
There are many people, I personally know, they won't come to my Vedanta class because it's boring. They say, you know, on my face, they say, your classes are boring. What you are saying doesn't make any sense to me. And I am not surprised, because this is exactly what I used to say once upon a time. Isn't it? So I'm not upset, or I don't take it, you know, in any bad way. I can understand from where. Honestly speaking, let me just confess, my wife does not believe in this Vedanta. She doesn't attend any class. She doesn't even listen to Vedanta. She says all these are humbug. What I can do? Fine. That is because that is, if you don't have the tatparata in your life, that is what it is. Your karma phala, you are enjoying whatever life you have got. My karma phala has brought me to.
So let me confess, Raghuji, the same thing in our house. My husband is like your wife.
Correct. See, the point is, we cannot force anybody, because Vedanta is what? It is the highest of the knowledge, right? And for that, you must have a certain inclination. If you don't have that inclination, it will not make any sense to you at all. And then you
cannot force it.
Vedanta, as you progress, it requires a lot of renunciation from you. Vedanta says that, you know, the Shama, Dhamma and all that, you know, the Sadhana Chatushthaya Sampatti business. If you start doing all that, controlling your mind, controlling your organs and all that, you will not go to any party, you will not go to any films, you will not eat anything which is, you know, tasty and all that, which you feel tasty and all. You will just there, whatever is minimum required for the maintenance of this body. If I get that, I am happy. If I don't get that also, I have got enough titiksha to go without food for some times. That mentality, when you develop, you know, it will not be palatable to everybody. Isn't it? So that is why he says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante. Krishna says that 1 in a million or 1 in a trillion will come to Vedanta. Will understand this. Who is this Vasudeva?
Guruji, I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to, just a moment. I'll just increase my volume. The question is, you are saying that all jivas are born according to their previous karmas.
Yeah.
But then I've always had this question: what about for the karmas to accumulate? You need to take birth and then you do things and then you accumulate karmas. But what about any jiva that's born the first time? Is there anything like that? Before, pure janma.
There is no answer in Shastra.
Yeah.
Because according to the Shastra, jivas have been there eternally. See, our problem is that we superimpose a Western concept of a linear model of creation. Creation is never linear. Creation is cyclical. Right?
Yeah.
Nobody knows. Shastra admits that we do not know when this process began.
Okay.
All that we know is this cycle, when the process began, we can tell you. So many years, you know, it has got, every yuga has got a certain years. It is said, you know, for Kali Yuga, the present yuga, 4,32,000 years. The previous yuga was half of that, 2,16,000. The previous was 108. Then the first yuga, 54,000 years. Like that, that's a calculation. No, in fact, it's the other way around, I think. Yeah. Total 4 yugas put together is 43 lakhs 20,000. Correct. I'm sorry. It was the other way around. 4 lakh 32,000 is 10% of that total 4 yugas time. Kali Yuga is the shortest. Okay. So now they know that when this, the Satyuga started and all from today's perspective. But when the process of this creation started, Anadi. Anadi means does not have any beginning at all, beginningless times. That's why Puja Swamiji uses the word beginningless. He doesn't say immemorable times. He uses the word beginning. He's very particular about the word he uses. So
But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says at the beginning of creation, I gave this knowledge to Surya.
Exactly. That's all. So which beginning, which creation?
Which creation?
Yes.
Which yuga or which creation?
So, you see, from a Vedanta angle, the question is asked, what are you going to know? What are you going to do by knowing about that? What is the purpose of when the creation started and all? What is the utility of that knowledge? Focus on the knowledge that you need to acquire, which is your self-knowledge. Knowledge over yourself. For that, when the creation started, is of no consequence. But
No,
law of karma is consequential.
So,
Law of karma is consequential.
yeah, law of karma is consequential.
That is there. So that is important. Shastra doesn't say ignore law of karma. In fact, everything fits into law of karma only. But to know when it started, even if we know also what we can do, we say no, we'll now do it differently. We already done it. So that is how the Shastra deals with these topics. It's Anadi.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Okay,
Hari Om.
see you next Sunday. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.